So over the past few days, we've spent a lot of time talking about major coaching hires happening all across college football, and that's a conversation we're going to have to revisit, and we're going to do so 5:30 tomorrow Central Standard Time on tomorrow's live stream. Can't wait to see you there, but today, we need to turn our attention back to recruiting, because one of the top prospects in the class of 2024 just recently decommitted, and it begs the question, what move is going to be next for four-star wide receiver Jason Robinson, who just this week has decommitted from USC? And this is something we've got to break down. Before we can, as always, y'all know the drill. I need to hear from you. Hop down to the comments. Give me a Y for yes and N for no. And considering the last school Robinson visited was Colorado, do you believe Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes could get a massive win for a very talented four-star wide receiver? Let me know what you're thinking. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification. I do constant college football content. You don't want to miss any of it. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and comment down below. Those interactions may seem small, but they are massive to content creators such as myself, and we're on a push to 20,000 subscribers. I would love to have you a part of this unbelievable community, but having said all that, let's jump right into this. And as I stated in the intro, Jason Robinson is one of the best playmakers in all of high school football in the class of 2024. Specifically, he comes in as the number 256 player, regardless of position in the nation, the number 33 wide receiver, and a top 30 player in the state of California, a state absolutely loaded with talent on a year-in, year-out basis. Now, I know on the channel we talk a lot about Florida. We talk a lot about Texas. We've even talked a lot here recently about the state of Georgia, specifically in the class of 2024, really diving into how loaded that state is, but California has its share of talent. Let's get it understood. Every year you look at the talent in California, it's a little bit head-spinning. And actually, about a year ago, I did a video breaking down how California quarterbacks were really taking over college football. You looked across the nation, and a lot of the big-time prospects were California quarterbacks, and it was really intriguing to see. But goes to prove the point. California's producing some real big-time talent, and Jason Robinson is absolutely a part of that conversation, which made USC fans so excited that he had initially chose to stay in the state of California, stay and play his collegiate football for the Trojans. However, this week he has decommitted. And though that does not mean that USC is out of the running, it does beg the question, what happens next for the very gifted four-star wide receiver out the state of California? And we need to look at the teams involved here, because not only is USC involved, Notre Dame very badly wants this kid. Utah very badly would like to get him into their room. And as I stated in the intro, Colorado and Coach Prime were lucky enough to recently get a visit from Robinson, and that begs the question, could that be a destination that he's interested in? And we need to break this down, because whenever we look at this, Notre Dame, and that's where we'll start, that's an institution that anytime they arrive at a recruiting battle, you need to sit up straight. Notre Dame has a history in college football that just can't be ignored. Now, we can talk about results, and fine, but at the end of the day, they're a team that's made the college football playoff since the college football playoff has came around. I understand they've lost when they've gotten there, but they made the dance. And I don't think we as college football fans give enough credence to how difficult it is to actually win and make the dance. And they've been able to do that. But Utah, also an institution I talk about all the time. Every year when we start the preseason ramp up, I talk about Utah being a team in the pack that I can't wait to watch. Kyle Whittingham always has that team ready. They're always disciplined, and they're always ready to just upset someone. And I can't wait to see what they continue doing. But if they're able to get in a Jason Robinson, well, they're going to be over the moon, because this dude right here is very talented. But now we need to talk about the team that probably so many of you are here to hear about. The team that just got Jason Robinson on a visit, the Colorado Buffaloes. And Colorado has been on a tear in the recruiting trail. I don't need to tell you what they've done, but I think for the sake of this video, we'll do a very brief refresher. They flipped Kermani McLean, the #1 cornerback in the nation, the second time Coach Prime has done that in as many years. They got a ton of blue chip guys that the Colorado Buffaloes fan base are incredibly excited about. And when you look at that transfer portal class, a transfer portal class that currently ranks as the #2 transfer portal acquisition class in the nation, there's a lot to be excited about. But even more so than the talent Coach Prime is able to acquire, there is another facet of the Colorado Buffaloes that I have really been shining attention on, and not just me. Several other fantastic content creators on the platform have as well. And that's the coaching staff that Coach Prime has been able to assemble. Because having Coach Prime there is one thing. He moves the needle. We talk about this. We understand this. That's a truth that cannot be denied at this point. But then you have Coach Kelly. who we talked about before the article had even came out, that he was being tabbed as the #1 recruiter by 24/7 Sports for his work both with the Alabama Crimson Tide and his work with the Colorado Buffaloes. And at the time, I had said that could be a major reason why Kermani McClain flips, not only being able to play for Coach Prime, but Coach Kelly is someone that, while he was with Alabama, was recruiting Kermani McClain. And so whenever he ended up at Colorado, it almost gave them a double dip. But the coaching staff Coach Prime has been able to assemble is just really impressive. The offensive coordinator, Sean Lewis, if you're a wide receiver, if you're an offensive player and you've really dove into his offenses, you're probably going to be excited, but you can even take it a step further. Because Colorado's wide receiver coach, Brett Bartolone, is the guy who just called Coach Prime's offense at Jackson State, an offense that was 2 points shy of 40 points per game. 38 points per game. So not only do you have a name that excites you at offensive coordinator, but at the wide receiver coach, you have a young up-and-coming coach who just was an offensive coordinator for Coach Prime at Jackson State, and that offense put up big-time numbers, and he is now your wide receiver coach. If you're a wide receiver, that can be a pitch that's difficult to say no to. And look, one thing we need to talk about, USC's got a really solid wide receiver coach and recruiter on their staff, and Dennis Simmons. This is something we have absolutely got to watch. And there's a reason why every time we talk about Colorado or we're talking about recruiting, I turn your attention at some point in the video to the coaching staff they have. Because the coaching staff they have is going to go a long ways in helping them win recruiting battles. Don't get me wrong. Coach Prime moves the needle. But you want to know what really helps move that needle? Whenever Coach Prime walks through the door and behind him come some of these other assistant coaches. And now you perk up in your seat and you're like, oh, this is for real. But before we get out of here, why is Jason Robinson such a coveted prospect? And turn on the film. That's very easy to figure out. Though he may stand 5'10 and a half, 160 pounds per 24/7 Sports, this is a dude that has got a ton of ability. And if I had to bet, I think he's going to finish as a prospect ranked higher than number 256 in the nation, and I don't think he's going to be on the outside of the top 30 wide receivers in the nation, personally speaking. Turn on the film, you'll see exactly why. Though I couldn't find any verifiable track data on Robinson, what I did realize is he's able to gain separation on intermediate routes, on short routes, and on long routes. He's able to make contested catches, and something that really stood out to me is for someone 5'10 and a half, he's consistently putting his body on the line. A quarterback might throw him a ball that is quote-unquote catchable, and when I say that, it means it's in a vicinity in which technically he could catch it, and he is diving, full-on Superman diving to catch this ball. That kind of effort, that kind of tenacity, you either have it or you don't. That's not coached. And that right there is something that when you see it, you get excited. If you're a coach looking at this prospect, he is dangerous with the ball in his hands. There are so many clips of him putting guys in spin cycle, making them miss, and doing good work. This is a very talented wide receiver. Do not be surprised at all when he starts rising up the recruiting rankings, because I expect it to happen. But where he ends up going is something I'm going to be watching closely. I do think it's notable that the last visit, though, was Colorado, and I can't wait to hear from all of you. Hop down to the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. That's it. See ya.